Are you tired of slaughtering your fellow man? Do chiptune screams haunt your every waking moment? Got a vendetta against electrical appliances? Then Binary Domain may be the game for you. If you've ever wondered how much of an effect reviews have on game sales, then look no further than Binary Domain. It raked in mostly 8s and 9s from the heavy hitters, and yet gamers did not give a shit. And boy were they missing out. It only sold 20,000 copies in its first month in the US, but those 20,000 savvy customers were laughing all the way through this magnificent game.
Nice to know you're appreciated, huh?
Binary Domain may look like a fairly generic third-person shooty game, but underneath that facade there's an absolute masterclass in video game fun. It brings likeable characters and perfect gunplay into an interesting world full of robots, humans, and robot humans. In Binary Domain, you take on the role of a member of a Rust crew, that being a special forces operative dedicated to hunting down illegal robots. International law prohibits robots from being too close to human, and now robots known as Holo Children have started popping up. These robots have lived their lives believing themselves to be fully human, and have a dangerous tendency to go a little bit mental when they discover that there's metal underneath their flesh. In response, the UN sends in you and your multinational Rust crew to shoot your way through Japan and extradite the head of the business that's been producing these robots.
Worst day of my life.
To be honest, the story's a lot more fleshed out than it has any need to be. Most of the time you'll be too busy having a grand old time hammering robots into the dirt to even think about the ethics of artificial intelligence. But the gameplay on display is so absorbing, you could lay this on a story as complex and interesting as the greatest works of Shakespeare, and players would still fail to care about what's going on around them. We don't need to consider the ramifications of artificial life and the human soul while we're shredding robotic humanoids all across Japan, Binary Domain, so stop bringing it up. Although it probably could have gone a lot more confusing with the story than it did, considering Binary Domain was dreamt up by the mind behind Yakuza. I imagine it's enough of a blessing that we don't have to button mash our way through a karaoke minigame, or tar up the female NPCs for the Robo Hostess Club. At the very least, Binary Domain keeps you focused on the shooty bang, servo crushing, armour flaying action. And you may think I'm throwing around words like flaying and shredding with wild abandon, but you'd be completely incorrect. One of the things that makes combat so satisfying is the way that flakes and chunks of the bad robots fly off when you pepper them with lead, or slap them with your gun. You can blow off individual limbs and they'll just keep on coming with the appendages that they've still got. You can even remove their heads, which removes their ability to tell friends from foe, meaning they'll start whacking their scraphead friends. It's a joy to behold, and that's not even taking the game's many ridiculously awesome set pieces into account. It strikes an interesting contrast with the stark, clean environments too. You and your Rust crew spread enough junk metal across the environments to keep the city's robo-slaves busy indefinitely. I actually think that the visual style of Binary Domain makes it look like how I'd imagine visuals would have looked on a modern Sega console. The Dreamcast's clean visuals brought into the modern age and then coated in shrapnel. All the characters and places you run around are covered in hard edges, and almost everything is either black, grey or white when you're in Tokyo proper. Less so when you're hanging out underground with the poor bastards who were left behind when the robot revolution got started. The art style works really well, and it's probably one of the better looking titles of the generation, especially when played on a decent PC, like with all games. Although it follows the trend of Sega releasing shit PC ports, it's one of the better ones. Just don't try and play it with mouse and keyboard unless you're the kind of freak who can endure mouse acceleration. And on that note, you'll want to bring along a headset with a microphone if you want to get the most out of the game's squad commands. At any point you can yell orders at your team and just hope to the sweet Lord that they'll actually listen. Will they charge when you scream charge, or will they arbitrarily refuse? That's decided by the trust system, which is based on how well your orders tend to go, and also on how often you've accidentally shot the people you're barking orders at. It's a system you can largely ignore most of the time, much like the nanomachine upgrade system that I only really discovered on my second playthrough. The strength of Binary Domain is in how perfectly its core gameplay is played out and balanced. Anything extra is just optional content. While the voice commands are not perfect, and this coming from a Scot, it's mostly functional. The only fault I can find with this game is that the walking animations are atrocious at points. points. Characters' legs spaz out when walking down slopes, and when you're carrying a heavy weapon, your guy looks like he's shat himself and is trying to stop it running down into his shoes. Other than that, Binary Domain is basically a perfect experience. It has some goofy character interactions, but to some that's part of the charm. It even has a train level, and if there's a mark of video game excellence, it's a good train level. Although, now I think about it, the jet ski section is a piece of shit. But if you're looking for a nice and simple yet effective shooter, then you really can't do much better than Binary Domain.